বাংলাদেশি বংশোদ্ভূত ফারা আহমেদ আমেরিকার বাইডেন প্রশাসনে একটি গুরুত্বপূর্ণ পদে নিয়োগ পেয়েছেন।
Actually helps bring that connectivity to rural communities. And then we also focus a lot on electricity and energy access, which we know is so critical.
গত ২১শে জানুয়ারি মার্কিন কৃষি বিভাগের আওতাধীন পল্লী উন্নয়ন আন্ডার সেক্রেটারির কার্যালয়ে চিফ অফ স্টাফ হিসেবে শপথ গ্রহণ করেন।
So my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, my nanu, I will say is my biggest inspiration, and I would be so lucky to be able to do a fraction of the work that she did and the lives that she touched.
সম্প্রতি জাগো নিউজকে দেয়া একান্ত সাক্ষাৎকারে নিজের নানা অভিজ্ঞতার কথা জানিয়েছেন তিনি।
সবাইকে ধন্যবাদ, ভালো থাকবেন।
B.M. Atikuzaman from Orlando, Florida. I'm welcoming all the viewers throughout the world on behalf of Jagonews. Today, I have a very special guest. I have Farah Ahmed with me today from Washington, D.C. You know, Farah just appointed as Chief of Staff in the Office of Undersecretary of Rural Development of U.S. Department of Agriculture. And it's so nice of Farah to join us today from Washington, D.C. Thank you, Farah, to join us.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here, and I appreciate the invitation and the opportunity to speak with you and to share a little bit of my story with the Bangladeshi community. So thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. The whole Bangladeshi community and the people of Bangladesh are very proud of you, very proud of your achievements. We know that in past, you served as a program director on the community and economic development team in the Rural Business Cooperative Service at USDA. So you do have prior experience working at a USDA in a leadership position. You also serve as a senior program coordinator in the Office of Consumer Education and a senior advisor to the Chief Operating Officer at the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. And also you serve as a senior policy analyst at Center for American Progress. My first question to you, your current leadership role in Biden administration, what you will be doing?
Yes. Well, first, let me say that I am so thrilled and so honored to have been appointed by the Biden-Harris administration to this position. The U.S. Department of Agriculture, or USDA, it's an incredible federal department. I mean, it touches all 330 million Americans each day in so many ways. And my role as Chief of Staff of Rural Development is really to manage and oversee all of our rural development mission work. So that's really about sustaining and expanding opportunities in rural communities. And to help improve the economies in those rural places. And the department, the area of the department that I'll be overseeing as Chief of Staff has a tremendous amount of resources. We provide loans, grants, other types of support and assistance to rural communities to do everything from building community facilities like schools, health clinics, hospitals. We update water and wastewater systems so people have clean water and reliable drinking water. We also connect people to broadband, to the internet. We know so much of our lives, especially right now, is on the computer, and we need to be connected in a reliable way. And so my department, Rural Development, actually helps bring that connectivity to rural communities. And then we also focus a lot on electricity and energy access, which we know is so critical. Not only in the United States, but around the world. And so rural development it's really a special place that can support communities in a variety of ways like that. And then I will say that in this specific role as Chief of Staff and as an appointee of the administration, we're really focused on doing that work with some key priorities in mind in everything that we do. So starting day one, which was just, a little over a week ago on January 20th, we're very focused in beating the COVID-19 pandemic. It's hit the whole world in really, really challenging ways, and especially in rural communities. And so we're really focused on efforts for pandemic relief. We're focused on restoring the economy, especially as it's related to a lot of changes because of the pandemic. And we're addressing the climate crisis, and rural communities will play a huge role in that and in mitigating climate change. And then lastly, but certainly not least, we are working to ensure racial equity and justice in the United States across every project that we do, every community that we serve. And those are really the priorities, not only of the Biden-Harris administration, but of myself. I share those same goals, and I care about those issues very deeply. And it's why I'm so excited and so honored to take on this role as Chief of Staff.
Thank you so much for explaining the broad responsibility on your shoulder, and we all looking forward for your leadership. We know that you were a very bright student from the beginning. Your parents are very bright as well. They come from a whole bunch of bright people in your family. You have a bachelor from Cornell University, a master's from Princeton University. But from the beginning of your career, you show your passion for public service, which certainly required a lot of sacrifice and dedication. We are all curious, what inspired you in the public service field? You have plenty of opportunities to go somewhere, but you come to this tough field of public service.
So I gather my inspiration from a lot of different places, a lot of different people. Some of them I've only read about in books. Some of them I've known my whole life. Some of them I've only had the pleasure of meeting for a few moments. And I really think what keeps me going in a job like this is that I'm inspired by just the hardworking people that I get to support every day. I will say in the rural communities that we serve, those are the people who help put food on our plates and give us, our natural resources and supply energy. And I've had a lot of good fortune in my life, a lot of privilege in my life. And I've just always felt a strong sense of, if I can use all of those things that I have, all of those assets to help others and just do a small part and play a small role, then that would be a success at the end of my life. And I will say, in a lot of the work that I've done and a lot of the rural communities I've spent time in, the challenges that they face are not unsimilar to some of the challenges faced in other rural communities, including those in Bangladesh. And, in my visits to Bangladesh, and especially the villages of my parents and my mother and father, I keep that in mind every day when I do the work that I do. And that continues to inspire me as well. And then I will say that my family, as you mentioned, has played a huge role. Even though not everyone in my family is in public service, we have a lot of people who are teachers, who are scientists, who are doctors and engineers, and a variety of other fields. They have still shown me that it's important, and that's to help make the world a better place. And so my parents, for example, they do so much community work, and they're actually leaders in our community in the Midwest, whether it's doing interfaith work or global affairs work. They're still doing that every day after their long hours of teaching physics as college professors. So I've seen the sacrifices that they have made and the dedication that they've had to helping their community, both in the Midwest and in Bangladesh, and that inspired me to actually dedicate my whole life to it. And there are other people in my family as well. I hope we'll have a little bit more time to talk about them because they've really served as a key inspiration to me.
I know you come from a very strong family background of educators and leader of Bangladesh. Especially you just told about your parents who are both educator, both a professor of physics. Your grandfather, your grandmother, especially your grandmother, she was one of the pioneer of the movement for the women in Bangladesh. She was a lifelong vice president of Bangladesh Mohila Porishad, and she really fight hard for the equality and gender equality, and she really worked very hard for the poor women of Bangladesh. Would you please tell us a little bit about your family?
Yes. So my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, my nanu, I will say is my biggest inspiration, and she passed away a few years ago. But when I remember her life, I would be so lucky to be able to do a fraction of the work that she did and the lives that she touched. I remember as a young child just being so in awe of her. I mean, she was a teacher for 32 years at Vikarnesa Noon School in Bangladesh. But like you mentioned, she was a leader. She was a leader of many different organizations. And she advocated for women's empowerment, women's rights, at a time when it was very difficult to even start that conversation. And I remember hearing about the work that she did with women victims of war crimes after the Liberation War in 1971, making sure that they had economic security, emotional security, and social security. And I was just so impressed by her boldness, her bravery, and her continued dedication to that all throughout her life. And, I think she's probably best known for her time as vice president at Mohila Porishad, as you mentioned, which is really focused on gender equality. And it's still something that we're fighting for today in a lot of ways, but she was the pioneer, and she accomplished so much against all odds. And, some days when I'm facing some big challenges, some difficult situations, I think of her. And I think of all that she's done, all that she accomplished, and it motivates me to face those challenges head on, to keep working harder, to find another way. And, I miss her so deeply. And I feel like a lot of what I'm doing is a continuation of her work and a continuation of her legacy. One thing I remember that she always said is, she's really working for women so that they can be afforded dignity in society. And I really see that as the mission of my work, to make sure that every person is afforded a life, a happy life, and a life with dignity. And so I really have her to thank for that frame of reference. And I just wish that she were here to see me today, but I know that she is somewhere. But I still am in continue to be in awe of her every day.
I know your maternal grandmother very well. When we grew up, we saw her, and especially when we used to go to next to Bangladesh Mohila Porishad, she played a tremendous role to make their auditorium, where they primarily did all the dramas, all the cultural activity was around that place because it's such a vibrant, strong place. And I know where the inspiration is coming from. And I'm very sure that she's in heaven and she's smiling at you at this point. So we are very proud of you as well as your family. We all know that your family migrated from Bangladesh. You still have family who live in Bangladesh. In fact, some of your family member, friends, and family all over the world contacted me when I wrote about an article about you in the news portal in Bangladesh. They're all very proud of you. What do you want to tell them?
What I really want to say is thank you. My family has always been so supportive of me, even taking a path less taken. It was a little unorthodox to, take on a career in public service and in politics in the United States. But I couldn't have done it without the support of all of my family here in the United States and in Bangladesh and around the world. I really feel like any accomplishment that I have is really their accomplishment too. It's not my own singularly. I would never have gotten to where I'm gotten today if it wasn't for them championing me, supporting me, especially on my toughest days. And so that's really what I want to say is thank you. And if I continue to make them proud, that would be just a huge success. And really at the end of my career, I hope to be able to look back. And if my family is still proud of all that I've accomplished, then I'll know that my career was successful.
Big inspiration for the young generation, especially the young Bangladeshi Americans. A lot of them are interested to come to public service, mainstream politics, non-profit sectors, and many other inspiring fields. And at this point of our interview, I'd like to invite Nabihah Tikuzaman to ask you a question about your feeling.
Hello, Nabihah.
I'm a public health and pre-health student, and I have a quick question for you. So, as a Bangladeshi American in the Biden-Harris administration, what advice would you give to those in my generation?
Well, Nabihah, it's so nice to meet you, and thank you so much for asking that question. It's very kind of you to say that. I've had a little bit of an impact on some of the young people and thinking about their careers. And I would just say that, the world has so many challenges and we need new solutions. And that means we need new ideas from new people, young people, people of different backgrounds. And Bangladeshi Americans have so much to offer. I mean, I will say the President Biden, he understands this. He's really focused on the fact that America is such a diverse nation and that makes us stronger. And he is building one of the most diverse leadership teams in federal government right now. I mean, I wouldn't be here if he was not committed to that and building a team that looks like America and is reflective of our diversity. And so, for young people or young girls, young women in the Bangladeshi community, I hope they do consider public service as a career. Working in public service, it's truly a privilege and it's an honor, and it's a career where you will wake up every morning and you will want to get out of bed and go to work. And it's a career where you can use your mind in such critical ways, but also your heart and to align with your values. And it's a career that's really taught me to be bold and to be brave and to be confident in myself. And it's allowed me to use my passion and my creativity. And it's a career where you can really make a difference in people's lives. It's just so rewarding. I'm not sure I'm sure a lot of other careers are rewarding, but to know that I may make a small difference in the lives of others, I couldn't imagine a better career. And so my advice is go for it, explore it. There's so many different parts of government. There's state government, local government, there's federal government, and there's also a lot of great work in advocacy, and there's something for everybody. And I could just, I couldn't imagine a better place for Bangladeshi Americans to share their experience and bring their perspective to the table and really have a huge contribution to steering this country in a wonderful direction.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's very inspiring. I'm very sure this will inspire Nabihah as well as many other young Bangladeshi American to go forward for public service, what you are doing. At the end of almost the end of our interview, and a lot of proud Bangladeshi and Bangladeshi American will be watching this interview. And I know you grew up here, but you still know some Bangla. I've seen your pictures wearing sharis, your pictures into Bangladesh, having jhalmuri and fuchka in right next to Bangladesh Mohila Parishad. So tell us something in Bangla.
Well, thank you so much for this interview. And to everyone, I would just say, সবাইকে ধন্যবাদ, ভালো থাকবেন।
অনেক ধন্যবাদ ফারিয়া আহমেদ, আপনিও ভালো থাকবেন। We all wish all the best for you and your family. It's just the beginning of you in a new step of your life, Biden-Harris administration, and again, we all are very proud of you, and we're looking forward to see you're going to do a great work for our great nation and the humanity, and you'll inspire everybody, every Bangladeshi American all over the world. So once again, thank you very much from the Bangladeshi community and also Jagonews platform.
Thank you so much.